Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Absolute Universe News, your one-stop shop for all things DC Comics Absolute Universe. We got a packed episode today. We have the announcement out of HereosCon and Scott Snyder of the next member of the Absolute Bat family that got announced. We'll get into that. We also have an announcement that the latest expansion into the Absolute Universe has sold out. But let's start off with the news out of HeroesCon. So it just got announced today, as I'm recording, that there's going to be Absolute Barbara Gordon is going to be Absolute Batgirl. So here at HeroesCon, Nick Dragotta and Scott Snyder took the stage to announce that Absolute Batman issue number 24 is going to feature the first look at Absolute Batgirl. And they're saying that her name is going to be The Bat, but let's throw it over to a video straight from the source and they can get into it a little bit further.
I have a question for Nick, which I think everyone in this room probably has right now. So, you're homaging your own cover here.
Everyone else is.
That's true. That's clearly not Absolute Batman, right?
No. Can we say who?
I don't know.
It's obvious who it is.
Pretty obvious.
Guesses who this is.
Barbara.
Yeah. So I mean, Barbara is one of the maybe
Good
the
guess.
only
It's a
person
good guess.
that knows Batman did not kill her father. So you know, just the story just emerges, and the idea was like she's gonna grab her dad's coat. We've seen Bruce hanging up. He's kind of going down this spiral, if you will, from the Scarecrow, and Barbara's ready to take, you know, the mission into her own hands now and avenge her father, I think. So she's got this great story. I mean, she's gonna become the Bat. She's not Batgirl, she's the Bat. She's gonna become known as. And so her day job is. So basically, her day job is the cop, but at night she's gonna maybe have to go outside the law to get things done. And but she still has this core, like again, what Che was saying with Catwoman, it almost feels like more Batman than Batman. Her mission and her origin, and then as Bruce is kind of losing it, she's gonna come in, and I don't want to give any more.
That's enough.
I love this character's story. For me, it's been there from Nick forever. Like, we've been talking about it since 2022 or whenever we began the book, and it really comes to a head here at 24, where it begins in earnest. Where she not only, because we wanted her to kind of come up under her father and have begun her time at the police at GCPD, but she sees all these things that are wrong with it everywhere. And so for her, there's, you know, her father, and there's good, but there's tremendous corruption, there's tremendous inequality, all this stuff, and so she goes outside that. And here, one of the fun things is, you know, she fights differently.
So there you have it, Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta going into some of the thoughts and ideas behind this Absolute Batgirl, this Absolute Bat, and how she'll play a role in the story. A couple of notes that I took. They say that she's going to be fighting a little bit differently. The fact that Absolute Batman is a little bit more vicious, she's going to play it a little bit more safe. The fact that she has that shotgun that we see in the picture, that is from Absolute Batman issue 1. She's taking the modified electric Batarang shotgun and using it for her own purposes. So she's still going to be non-lethal, focus on not murdering people, but she's also going to be able to take that coat off. She has like some sort of MMA, mixed martial arts, like arm wrap sort of elements. Apparently she's like super buff, and she's just ready to avenge her father. So very interesting sort of story beats and the direction that they could go for this character, and the fact that it's something that they've been working on in the pages of Absolute Batman, sort of building up this reason for her to go out and fight, and the fact that she's really focused on the corruption of the GCPD, having been a cop, she is a cop currently during her day job, and kind of using that to fuel her nighttime activities where she can be a little bit more flexible with the law. So that is going to be interesting to see how she gets a hold of Batman's gear and kind of the capacity that she plays in terms of teaming up with Batman. We also have word from Scott Snyder in regards to the event in the Absolute Universe and their idea on how it'll expand and introduce a bunch of new characters. So in the interview with Comic Pop Returns, Scott Snyder got into it and said, there's a lot of expansion in the event that Jason is doing, which will also expand the universe a lot. That obviously is about these characters meeting, coming up against a big threat, the proxy to the Justice League essentially, which is the villains in our universe. We're waiting on the hero's name and what that will become. But we know that they're going to be going up against these evil Justice League. They have to find a different way than you'd expect, and that brings in a lot of characters that are kind of in hiding in the shadows, good and bad. There's a lot of expansion into 2026 and 2027, even if the line itself stays modest in the number of books. And that's something that you can see already, the fact that Absolute Catwoman is going, but they're taking a little bit of time, doing a little one-shot with Absolute Cassandra Cain. So that is really cool to see. We know obviously that Absolute Catwoman issue number 1 has already sold out. It's going back to a second printing, and I made a whole video covering this on its own, but Absolute Catwoman is going to be introducing and has already introduced Absolute Cassandra Cain. So between issues number 3 and 4, we're getting Absolute Cassandra Cain. The one shot in particular is going to be called Absolute Cassandra Cain, The Shadow's Hand. So looking forward to that. That's going to be out on September 9th. So make sure to let your comic shops know about that. But yeah, just really cool to see the ways that DC Comics is deciding to expand the line, still being a little picky and choosy with, you know, what they've decided to give a mini series and what they decide to just keep at a little one shot. But I'm loving the way that they're expanding it. The fact that the fans want more and more and more, that's only a good thing, but they don't want to flood the market with too many Absolute titles. So I totally get it. Let's get into the FOCs that you guys got to be aware of as we're upcoming, because, you know, this is really important stuff. So let your shops know that you want copies of the following: Absolute Batman number 22 and Absolute Catwoman issue number 2. These are on FOCs. The day that I'm recording it, these are going to be FOCs the very next day. So get your orders in very, very shortly in order to get your copies of Absolute Batman number 22, Absolute Catwoman issue number 2, and then the next week, so you guys get another week on this. So make sure to put your orders in for Absolute Flash 17 and Absolute Green Arrow number 3. Absolute Green Arrow is off to a really great start. Absolute Flash 17, okay, I was going to say it doesn't have the A cover yet, so maybe trying to keep it under wraps a little bit. Maybe it's not done yet, but Absolute Flash number 17, looking forward to that. So those are the FOCs for the week, and that'll do it for another episode of Absolute Universe News. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of Absolute Batgirl, Absolute the Bat? What do you think of the design so far? Let me know down in the comments, and while you're down there, like if you like, sub if you love. Really like, you can hype it. I'd appreciate likes, hypes. Thank you guys for watching, and read more comics.